Hello. Riley, we're live.
I'm sorry, I'm falling apart over here.
It's chaos. Good.
Physically and mentally, but that's all right.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I'm good.
happy Friday, everybody. Carpets and Coffee number 55. I am back. I haven't been here for a while, so good to see that beautiful face, Riley Jimison. How are you doing?
Good, man. I've been busy. I just capped off my breeding season for Morelia, unless those Bredli decide to do something, which I don't think they will. But you know, they're together. We got some rain the other day. I'm not gonna not try, but at the same time, I'm not holding my breath. But otherwise, clutch number 5 hit the ground. Got those jungle eggs. So
yes, that looked like a really decent size clutch too. How many did you get?
18 good eggs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no slugs or anything. So
perfect.
But yeah, that worked out nicely. And then all I have left are the rainbow boas. One female's due mid-June, and I have no idea if she's going to go or not. She's doing weird things that she's never done before, but then again, I haven't seen a lock, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we'll see what happens.
Very good. So you said five clutches on the ground?
Yeah, 5 carpet clutches, and then the Crevo eggs.
How are the Crevo eggs?
They're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're
I think
riding.
I saw you had an event with a temperature anomaly.
Yeah. So my incubator decided to grow a mind of its own and not a productive one at that, and decided it was just going to start nosediving in temperature sporadically. And I woke up to a 7-hour downhill from like 76 degrees to about 45 degrees.
Jeez.
The box was like physically cold.
Okay.
Right. But you know what they say, heat kills your animals faster than cold. And we're talking a species that's particularly comfortable in cooler temperatures. And it was only 7 hours. And, you know, I mean, not holding my breath.
Interesting either way, right? I mean,
yeah.
They can handle.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and there is no physical change in their state of being whatsoever. Nice. I caught it pretty quickly, and fortunately the ambient temperature in the room here kind of was fluctuating in somewhat of a happy range for them, for me to just let them ride at ambient until I could get a replacement in. So
cool.
Fortunately my ambient is cool enough for like a cooling incubator to run, but if I just built something that pulled air out, the ambient is just still too warm. So I had to still buy something, but
yeah,
things have gotten more available since COVID's lightened up.
Sure. Yeah. And last year, the eggs that you got that turned out to not be good, they went gnarly pretty early on, right? It was pretty obvious early that something wasn't right with those ones.
Yeah, and the first thing they did was they changed color, and I wasn't sure if that was because they were like stained from the first incubation like method that I tried, which was the polyfill over wet cocoa blocks medium,
right?
That nice layer, and they were just too wet. So I think it was a combination of too wet and too cool. So
okay, yeah.
But that was 13 perfect eggs. This time I got 13 eggs, but only 5 were perfect, and the rest were slugs. So
I don't know if you guys touched on this last time. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the ones I missed. But what do you chalk that up to this year? Is there anything in particular you think that affected the fertility, or who knows?
Well, I think the first go around she had 5 years of feeding and caloric devotion to just herself. Whereas the second clutch, she just had the turnaround from the first one till then. So, a lot of people that keep dry marcon and falsies and similar species probably feed them more frequently than I do. And so I think I think last season there was also a shortage of availability of like rodents and quail and chicks and things. So I think a lot of it played into just the food availability for her.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And back-to-back years as well. Maybe, she was, like you said, not quite as well equipped in terms of nutrition, but fingers crossed the ones you got go the distance. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So far so good. And then all the other clutches seem to be going good. I tossed the eggs from that second Papuan female, the remainder of the eggs that she withheld for a long time. Those all went real bad immediately. Right. So those ditched, and the first 5, they're hanging in there. They don't look great, but they should go the distance. So we'll see.
Okay, for sure. Well, that's crazy that you're almost done. I'm not expecting that much this year, but all I have in the incubator are lizards. I got back. I went to Brooklyn to visit my big sister. That's where I was last week, and I got home Wednesday. So came back and checked out the room. It seems like that highlighter line jungle is probably due to drop any day now. I think she's 22 days post ovulation shed at this point. So I'm waiting for that. Nice. She looks ready to pop. She's restless. She's pushing moss all over the place in the lay box. So
there you go.
I will hopefully have some snake eggs in the incubator soon.
Nice.
But I'm just now pairing Brettles for the first time. I've got my females in shed at this point. I fed them, small to get their digestive system cooking again, get everything firing slowly. And then I hit them with a big meal before I left. And all of them are in shed now. So my hope is that when they shed out, I'll combat males and make sure everybody's together, and that can be a good trigger for the boys, that fresh shed stank.
Yes.
So, if it's anything like last year, a lot of nothing happened until later in the spring for me.
Okay.
My Brettles just seem to be a little late, but they hopefully will, at least a few of them will get it done. And then the other thing that I'm really excited about is I am almost positive that Western Blackhead is gravid. So that is like, the number one thing that I could hope for this year. And I was also completely not expecting it because, Jason Hood's getting blackhead eggs like as of like 2 weeks ago. A lot of people are getting eggs at this point. So I guess she's just a little bit behind, but she flew across the country for the first time. It's a new climate, animals are all different. So I'm crossing my fingers, but she's really thick, man. Like,
swollen, those photos you couldn't deny
separation. Yeah, for sure. Brett Bender's first in line. I know, man. Don't worry. But I mean, that's one of those species, right, where getting eggs isn't necessarily the hard part. So I'm obviously ecstatic, but there's still so much that could be not good. They have to be fertile, and then I have to not kill them for the duration of incubation. And that was a good rhyme. But I mean, as you and I know, just from last year, that's easier said than done.
Yes.
I mean, shit, we even hatched one out that didn't make it, but so it's like at every step in that process, they are a challenge.
Yeah, it seems like until they're eating regularly on their own, like you kind of just always riding that line.
Yeah, there's no feeling of like success until, like you said, months after they've been born, when they're taking prey on their own. So it's definitely a long, hard,
they
mentally
make it
challenging process.
They make you work for it, for sure.
But shit, man, if that works out, that's season made.
That'd be super exciting.
highlight of her career. So fingers crossed. But I don't want to get too excited. She could drop a bunch of slugs. She's never laid before. But we'll see.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Yeah, I've had all those random variables in the last 2 seasons. Like everything could go well, and then it doesn't.
Exactly.
So like,
yeah, and I mean, I just had Owen's stupid Woma just drop a clutch of all slugs again for the 3rd time in her life. So
was she with a different male?
So no, my plan was to introduce a different male with her, and I actually. Man, like last fall, I purchased an adult male because all of my raise ups were going to be too young to try that. And I was really, like that's something I really wanted to attack this year was get to the bottom of that project with that girl. Is she the one that has fertility issues, or is Owen's boy the one that has fertility issues? So I picked up a male, but he arrived with a respiratory.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah. So, I kept him in quarantine. I did an entire course of antibiotics. The seller was really good working with me. They paid for the meds and everything. But unfortunately it never cleared up. So I ended up having to send that boy back. It's not worth the risk at that point. So I did end up having to pair her with that same male just because he's the only one available to me this year. So, yeah, I learned nothing.
Well,
except that she can lay a good amount of eggs. I think it was like 9 slugs or something. And I hadn't been feeding her that heavy. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next season goal is put her with a different male and put that male with another female and see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, next year, I'm hoping that my super orange one from Dan will be ready to go. So, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to not try to throw him at every female.
Yeah.
There should be 3 girls, 3 Woma girls that I can go with next year. So Owen's when I feed her back up. And then there's the really light colored one that I got from Casey Schultz, Zion Hill. And then the newest one, which is a really nice, like, golden orangey animal that I was able to pick up from a customer that brought her into work. And, it was like a father-son little kid. He got it as their only snake as a pet and the kid didn't like it. So I said, I'll take it. And she's really quality animal. So that's like the best way to acquire an adult is when it's the only snake they have. It just feels so safe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not exposed to a bunch of other nonsense.
Bunch of nasties. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's good.
Yeah,
man. My 2 Womas, well, my female kind of, when I brought her home, she was always a little like, a little sneaky, and I kind of assumed she would grow into your traditional like feisty Woma, but she's like that plus a little bit more. She'll like launch out of the hide at you. So she's fun. And then the male, I was like, oh cool, I've got the mellow one and the traditional, and then something snapped in the male, and he's kind of like following that same route. He's like, nah, I'm not to be outdone by my half sibling over there. I'm going to hurt you too.
That's tough, man. It is fun. Like, if you don't mind, then it's a good time. But
like, it's not like it's different.
People.
It's different than certain other species being snappy. Like, it's nowhere near on the level of my Apodora being territorial, and it's nowhere near those Maclots that I had. But it's like their own thing, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll put up with you.
I think what's kind of nice about the Womas is like the bitey ones. They're still really workable because their moves are so predictable. Like you don't really get caught off guard.
They're easy to work with hooks.
They're easy to work with hooks. It's so obvious when they're about to try to whack you, or when they're nuzzling down on you. If a nose goes up on your skin, it's time to move. Like there's not a lot of nuance to the body language.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you know what to look for, they're kind of easy. So they're fun.
Yeah, for sure. Although I mean, like we've talked about, either they seem to be just the most docile thing ever or not. Like there's not a lot of middle ground. And so far, a lot of mine are the docile side of the equation, which is just a nice bonus. But, of course, the prettiest one is a dick, as you saw. Yeah. But that's just the way of it.
That's the drawback with the pretty ones.
Yeah, I'll take it every time.
My first experience with the Womo was back in Santa Barbara at the zoo. We brought one in for education as a baby, and it had that same kind of striky, bitey, everything was food until it could figure out that it wasn't sort of thing. And
yeah,
I took it upon myself to work with that thing. And after a couple of years of, biting a couple people and my boss and a few others, it ended up being really mellow and trustworthy. It learned, as long as you pulled it out with the hook, you can do whatever you wanted with that animal.
Sure. Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's really the difference, right? Is like whether you can get the feeding mode turned off or not. Like some snakes will learn, others just you can't turn it off.
yeah and whether it's a species specific thing or an individual thing, it varies from situation to situation. But that individual was the first one that really clearly showed me that at least this individual of Woma python can remember and distinguish routines, that like the two approaches or the two sequences of events that lead to different outcomes, and would behave completely different at the first start of difference between those two instances.
For sure.
So, well, really cool.
Speaking of that kind of personality, I got some new stuff.
What'd you get?
The Queensland water python.
Oh boy.
Is just like a bitey Woma.
Nice
thing. It's so cool. Like when I get it out, it kind of like gets up vertical almost, but like in an S shape, and just squares up, and it likes to bite, but
goddamn it's really asses.
Yeah, it's really pretty, and I just don't care.
But it's true, they're very pretty.
It's part of the charm at this point. But,
yeah, how your scrubbies? Your scrubbies are little demons too.
So I mean, yeah, the package that came was female Fuscus, Queensland water. It was a mutton care package that has been in the works for like a year. So it was those. It was 1.1 of his captive bred Wamena scrubs.
Those are cool.
Are so freaking cool. And
I will personally say that, like, although I love scrubs, I think they're beautiful. Their satin velvet look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever see myself working with them.
I wouldn't do.
I don't know. Maybe that'll change.
Any of the ones besides the small ones. I mean, I know that a lot of them can be small, can be big.
Sure.
But
like even the big guys, like I don't find them necessarily unmanageable. Like I've worked with one or two of Brandon Wheeler's like 11 and 12 footers, and in tight spaces and outside. And it's not that their behavior isn't unmanageable or anything like that. I don't know, man.
Sure.
So here's one thing for sure. I'm a collect them all person. So if I got into them, I'd be screwed, like absolutely screwed. It'd be like, okay, give me the complete list. All right, now we're going to put check boxes next to all of these, and here's what I need, and that's a problem. The other thing is space. And I'm trying to tell myself, like, the only big snakes I'm working with, unless for some reason my space, like, exponentially just goes boom and, like, expands, is Apodora. So
for sure. Yeah, man. I mean, in talking with Nick, it sounds like his wild caught founders, he keeps them pretty much carpet size. They're not. Yeah,
and listening to Chuck talk about his hounds too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, so, I'm definitely not planning. I'm very encouraged.
Yeah. I'm definitely not planning on treating these much different size wise than like a jungle.
Sure. But
Brettles
still,
at the most, but what's kind of neat about them is
too many things.
Well, yes, too many things.
Too many things. I love them, but I know I love them So I'm gonna tell myself that I shouldn't ever work
Yeah.
with them because I know I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole and be like,
It sounds like those Waminas in particular, though, they're probably something different. I mean, I think we all realize that scrub taxonomy could use a touch up, and Cymalia amethystina as a group is not necessarily well looked at in that way.
From what I hear, that seems to be the consensus. There's a lot to still maybe divide, reclassify, things like that potentially.
Right. Even if it's not necessarily full species, maybe we need to just get a little bit more clarity on locales and subspecies and variations among the groups. But the Waminas, I guess, a little smaller. They have a really distinct pink tongue, which is one of the first things that jumped out at me. And I'm not big on scrubs, but it sounds like that's not the case with a lot of the other scrubs. And like I said, a little smaller and seem to be a little bit more docile in general, according to the folks that I've talked to that have them. Now, that being said, they definitely took their shots at me out of the box, but they're babies. Is to be expected. I'm not worried about it. But just in working with them for like the week that I've had them, I'm able to already work with them without getting bit, and they've eaten for me just fine. So I'm not really worried about that part of it. But they're really cool, man. Like I set the girl up in like a naturalistic glass 10-gallon in the kitchen with overhead light and a bunch of branches, just something different from like a plastic quarantine bin so that I could really see her. And it's been fun. It's been really
rad.
Fun. Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
The other thing that's new was another male inland. So I got some different genetics from my inland group. From Nick.
I saw some of those ones he has listed on his website. I was like,
yeah, they're great.
But I also told myself and Justin I want to wait, see what he produces this year. I would like a male from Justin's stock, and then should things continue to go well for me as they have been like this last month or so, maybe I will grab another female from Nick. Who knows?
Who knows?
Speaking of inlands, my female gave me a full food bite response on my finger today. I was like, no way, look at you.
You're supposed to be the nice carpet.
I was like, are you confused? And then like I picked her up and she did it to my other finger. I was like, wow.
That's funny.
All right then.
Yeah.
She's getting fed today. So I was like, fair.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like, yes, they tend to be very chill, very docile. But when people ask like, oh, inlands and Brettles, that means they don't bite? No, it means that they usually won't bite compared to other snakes. But, there's always going to be those times where some wires get crossed or you stick a hand in after touching a rat. Like, you're going to get bit eventually. It's fine.
Yeah. My adult Brettles, you don't just stick your hand in and touch. They don't, They don't play that game.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But not all of them are like that. It is what it is. I've also had animals that like I've worked with in other people's collection that were completely not hand tame in or out of the enclosure. And then like one in particular I've acquired. She came here and she's super sweetheart.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know, right? I mean, there's been multiple instances for me where either an animal that I produced here last year was super, super friendly and shipped it out to its new home. And people are like, you said this one didn't bite. I'm bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
And vice versa. The black cat I got from Derek Roddy, he said was a demon, and she's been nothing but chill since she got here. So the plane ride can switch things up every now and then.
Speaking of blackheads, I feel like, granted my sample size is what on a regular basis 4 that I work with 5 days out of the week. And they seem to go through like stages as they age, but then like at certain times of the year, at least, the adult females will be a little more like inclined to test things out or respond and look at things as food.
Mm-hmm.
But like even our male, he has his moments where sometimes he's just like psycho, and then other moments he's chill. And it's varied quite a bit as he's started to mature. And then ever since putting him in the breeding rotation, he's chilled out a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They seem to be one that do kind of have different moods, just depending on, the day or the season, like you're saying. And I have seen that as well in some of mine with just changes with age as well. One of my Eastern females, the first one that I got as a baby, she was super chill, has a tiny neonate. And then she had like a terrible twos situation where anytime I would walk by, she'd strike glass and just go crazy. And now, she's going on 3. I want to say 3 or 4, and back to totally chill. She's in the top 6x2 that you brought me, and I'm just absolutely chilled back out. So I know what you mean. They're not one where their personality from the get-go is constant throughout their entire life. They seem to have,
they just go through stages, it seems.
And good days and bad days, I've found.
Sure. I find myself paying attention to some of these more unique species that we sort of either don't have like a huge peg on, or there are stereotypes about them behaving in one way. If there's a strong stereotype in one way, I definitely pay attention to it. But if I'm around them a lot, I just notice, certain things. I don't know.
For sure. I mean, it's hard because with some species, those stereotypes are often true, like with the womas, for example. And then in other cases, it's kind of a misnomer, like the idea that all carpets are bitey or that coastals should be 12 feet, things like that. So it's kind of hard to pick and choose, especially when every single individual animal is individual. That throws a wrench in it even further. But
I'm really curious to see what happens when my 2-year-old or 2.5-year-old Apodora, when I move him into a bigger cage similar to what I have my 5-year-olds in, because I'm curious to compare him to my older male, because that dude, I swear it's like he hears me talking. He literally just started poking his head out of the hide. He's been hiding literally this entire time. As soon as I said it, he just, like the little cave thing. Talking
nice.
about me. Dude is intense. Like in the enclosure, he's no joke. Changing his water, I stop what I'm doing. I kind of have a moment. I let him figure out where I'm at. I figure out what he's doing. And then I start inching the door open, and I stop and see how he reacts. And then I inch the door open some more. I have a hook nearby, and then I'll open it all the way, and I still stop and just let him figure out what he's doing. Because he'll just like bite stuff randomly, like including himself, the glass door, the hook, the water bowl, his hide. Like he's really reactive, and I'm trying to like see if I can narrow down some of the variables that may or may not be at play. And I've increased his food intake, and that seems to have given him more time for rest and just sitting in the hide and relaxing, because he was getting to the point where the dude was just pacing all the time, and he was like scuffing himself. And I'm like, you really need to stop this.
Stop the madness.
But he's intense, dude. He's like a bull ready to charge in his enclosure. As soon as you get him out of the enclosure, it's game off. It just like, that just goes away. He's totally malleable. You can work with him. He's not head shy. But then the female, she's the same way as far as like in and out of the cage, but she's nowhere near as intense as he is in the enclosure. And it's just, I don't know. I'm curious if that's a consistent male to female thing, or if there's some personal variation there. Obviously, my sample size is small. Yeah.
But for sure, that's really interesting. I'm having a similar experience with my indigos, even smaller sample size than you, but the male I'm raising up is a freaking psychopath in the cage. But and like when I get him out, it also takes a decent amount of time for psychopath to turn off.
Is it food response?
Yeah, like food response, tail rattling, mouth agape, full psychopathy. Wow. But then when he's calm, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm an Eastern Indigo. I'm your friend. But
that's crazy.
The female is just, she, as soon as the cage door opens, if food does not enter and a hand enters, she goes back and she hides. She's smart enough to know, and there's no aggression. So, opposite ends of the spectrum from the same species, you have to got to know your animal.
How long have you had those now?
The female I've had for maybe 6 months ish, and the male maybe 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, not super long.
I'd be curious if that ends up being like a seasonal thing with your male, and if he grows out of that.
Yeah, we'll see. The nice thing with him is that John Michaels, he told me when he was sending him out, this is the only one I have left. I have it left because it will only eat quail and is kind of finicky with food. Do you want it? Because I'd been on the waiting list for like a year, and I said, sure, send it. I got quail. I don't care. But with that attitude, like he took rodents the second time I tried. It wasn't too hard once I guess he was just pissed off and food.
Do you think that was a personality switch from John's place to yours?
Maybe
just like the travel or something about that.
It's hard to say. I didn't ask John about disposition, personality, but if he is slamming food for me, then I don't mind. That's fine.
Yeah, that's the nice thing with Crevos is they're both of my adults I got from John as not established on anything really consistent, if at all. He disclosed that. I was like, no, I know what I'm doing, and he's like, are you sure? I said, yeah. And both times, like, started with live minnows, then frozen thawed ones on tongs, then scenting the rodents, and then game over. They just start taking everything.
For sure.
And I don't know if like, I would imagine he's probably tried everything, thrown the book at stuff. Sometimes it's just, when a snake travels and it goes somewhere else, even if it's set up exactly the same, it's just in somebody else's place. Sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And others just take a little bit more time, right? I had that one Brettles baby that didn't eat for me unassisted until December. So 4 months roughly of not wanting to eat. But then once something changed and it took that first mouse fuzzy all on its own, now it's just no problem. And that thing's sprouting like a weed, taking every meal I give it. And it's actually one of the nicer hypos. So I'm glad it is. But it's kind of weird.
That is the truth. Yeah, every animal can be really different. I mean, it's fun though. I mean, that's kind of like within something that others might see as monotonous, we can see the splitting of hairs and the variation within things, even on a very subtle basis. So,
right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a big part of what should be the fun. If you're going to keep something in a box, you might as well get to know it.
That is true. That is true. But, although I did try that with one animal, and I was really working well with her, and we were having a good rapport, and things were great, and I got really comfortable with her. And then one day she regressed and bit the crap out of me, and she's been back to living up to her name. So I'm like, all right, we're
some days I act like a little kid too. We all have our days.
Yeah, I guess so.
But so Fuscus Wamena scrubs,
Mhm.
and then I also got Lake Chapala garter snakes on
So
just the other side of the world.
Where's Lake Chapala?
It's a Mexican garter snake. So
Okay.
Thermofist, Eckus, Obscurus.
Okay.
They are from Rob Shea's stock, garter guy, but from Zach Loafman. Zach got some from Rob, produced them, and sent me a pair. Those things are really cool, man. Like
They have a blue belly. They look really pretty.
Yeah, like a creamy bluish turquoise belly, and then the top side. I've noticed them. They're kind of changing a little bit. There's a little bit of color variation depending on the light. Sometimes it's pretty dark brown, and then other times that dorsal side has some reds and oranges to it. So
nice.
I'm loving them. I never expected to have garter snakes, let alone 2 species of garter snakes, but it's totally fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody getting garter snakes and not saying they're fun. I mean, they're pretty unique.
Super unique
in their own right.
Yeah, they seem to prefer being with one another.
From everything that I've heard, that seems to be 100% the case.
You know, it's like a species of snake where everything that we tend to like shoot down as good and bad, or as bad husbandry, is kind of the opposite for garter snakes. Like glass aquarium, cohab, feed them all together,
it's almost better for them,
right? And so I guess that's what's been really fun for me, is throwing out everything and just doing the opposite of what I usually do.
It's cool to step out of your comfort zone and your lane a little bit with a species that isn't too far-fetched in its husbandry requirements.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I gave these guys a really big water basin. You don't want to keep them wet, right? You know, they need to be able to dry out. Correct. But you know, similar to what I like to do with the falsies, I like to at least give them the option to hop in a more, you know, aquatic subsection of the enclosure. And they do. They actually will just sit underwater, like completely submerged for a decent period of time. Which is also really fun to watch. It's like they think when they're under the water, I can't see them.
Oh boy. Ignore that.
Are you on TikTok?
No, my fiance just sent me something. I was like, go away, phone.
TikTok star Riley's reptiles?
No.
But yeah.
They haven't paid me. They don't get that. They don't get to have that plug.
Yeah, how do you even make money on TikTok?
You have to get verified or some shit. You have to become like in the thing, in the club or whatever. Shout out to Jeremy Warfel. Warfel's Morphs in the house.
Hi, Jeremy Warfel.
I'll be doing an interview with him Sunday.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, on his channel.
Awesome.
New theme song. Yeah, I don't know what that theme song is. So no, if I'm getting a theme song, there is this dude on TikTok who's an insane guitarist, and he plays from somewhere in his soul that like translates into like the most amazing riffs and soloing and just really good like if you stripped away the vocals and found like a good like classic hair metal, like I don't know, dude, like it's amazing and it's really good. And I listen to that stuff and I'm just like, yes, I want you to write something for me.
Make it happen. We'll play it.
Oh, dude, he just sits there and he chugs and he just like zones, jams. I'm like, man, this is pure as it gets. So
nice. Bob Evans. I've always been curious. Does Eric play the intros to the NPR podcast? I actually used to wonder that too. I think no.
No, as much as he can play that stuff and better, he has a.
I think it's Storybooks.
Storyblocks. Yeah, the Storyblocks subscription for duty-free music downloads for certain files and things. So it's all saved in there. There's a whole folder of all this stuff, so you can go back to it. But
we can't waste Eric's genius on podcasts.
yeah, that costs money too.
Heck, yes.
Yeah, you don't just get a free Eric Burke showing. I mean,
speaking of Eric, it's
he
40
played,
minutes and
he played with Eddie Van Halen, for crying out loud.
We haven't, yeah, that's true. We haven't acknowledged his absence. So for anybody that has been sitting there for 40 minutes saying, "Where's Eric?" He got caught up at work, but he might join us around the hour mark. We'll see how it goes. That being said, speaking of guitarists, we've got Desert Creature. Check out Tosin Abasi. So that's the Animals as Leaders guy.
Oh, yeah.
I upvote that. Yeah. Yes, he's incredible.
He's gifted. I've heard him play.
Super, super, super good. But anyway, Garter Snakes.
So, Garter Snakes definitely make you think outside the box. They are pretty unique, and I think that's freaking rad that you have those things, dude.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Next year's going to be a crazy season, at least over here.
Well, yeah, I mean, next year you'll have, let's see, like all the things you already have. So all your massive amounts of womas, massive amounts of brettles.
But things are finally going to be coming of age next year.
Right. Yeah. Blackheads.
I think I'm going to be able to try 3
falsies,
3 pairs of blackheads, 3 pairs of womas, falsies, like Chapala garters, continue to do Ackies. Probably will be able to try Kims at that point. And then the full blood hypo het stonewash brettles will be ready to go. Probably give all the dudes that I did this year and last year the year off and just try that one pairing for breadlie. Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
Speaking of Ackies and Kims, did you see that that Mike is getting rid of all of his Odatria with incoming Tristis? So he's got a once in a lifetime opportunity on a group of Tristis, and that combined with him having like 11 species of monitor lizards and him having zero time to spend time with his family, he publicly did a live and announced that he's gonna get rid of some species, and I'm pretty sure it was not on an April Fool's Day. So
wild. No, I hadn't seen that. That is wild. Mike, if you need somewhere to send those Kims, you know where to find me.
I was gonna say, like, if anybody would be curious, I would think maybe you would have some interest in something. Add another species to your bundle over there.
I don't think I've done a Carpets and Coffee since this happened. I did get a double clutch. I got 5 more Ackie eggs.
I saw that on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally unexpected. I mean, I guess that's what I get for leaving them together. Not that it's a bad thing,
but I mean, that just shows that you're supporting that female well enough for her to feel like she can do that. And they didn't look like they were poorly calcified either. They were, well sustained. So
they're a little bit smaller than the first 11, but plump and fertile and in good shape. But I did separate them now. I'm going to give her a few months to herself.
Sure.
But pretty cool to have 16 good-looking Ackie eggs cooking.
Yeah, once they get going, man, it's all about just putting them back together and then pumping the brakes when you need. We're expecting a clutch from Rudy at the shop, and it'll probably be slugs because we didn't pair her at all.
Talk about needing to pump the brakes. How many did she throw last
A lot,
year?
but we're down to the last like maybe 4 black dragons. So we're going to start pairing them up again and making some more. So, and speaking of Mike again, he got some, he got like 13 eggs, I think, from his Javan banded sulfur water monitors. So congrats to him on that. And,
congrats. A lot of Mertens eye popping out.
My boss has confirmed my preemptive but likely messages to Mike saying, "Hey, we want some of those." My boss like, "Yes, we do." So Grant wants those. We actually moved out. That one male sailfin we had at the shop that was like that different green wash, kind of a different locality.
Yeah,
well, he started getting blue in the gems and things, but anyway, we just shipped him out. So now that other male, the younger one that has the insane purples and great lineage, he's not going anywhere. He's poised to take over for that older male once he kind of retires out and phases out. But we might move that group over into the smaller enclosure, make it more manageable for finding eggs. Nice. And then that opens up that bigger enclosure for Java and sulfurs at some point. So
yeah, that would be really cool.
We have spondylosis that need a big enclosure. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We got some more freedom breeder racks at the shop for the rodents. And so we're going to do a bunch.
Are those still kind of assholes? or are they
the racks?
No, the spondylosis.
They've mellowed out a bit. They don't jump out the door as soon as you open them. I've actually hand fed a few of them like hoppers, like just like, you look interested. This is either a bad idea or awesome. And it's been awesome so far. Cool. Like they've taken them from cups, and then I was like, they just really weren't. They've gotten used to us, that keeping them in a small enclosure with minimal places to hide and kind of forcing them to almost endure or kind of just be around a lot of things has really worked well for them, and just kind of not forcing ourselves upon them and just letting them be has allowed them to acclimate nicely. So they're doing well. They're doing really well.
Nice. That's
so
awesome.
It's about time to put them in a nice lush planted enclosure, see if we can't start working on converting that back area to make it a little more of a nice lizard display. And so
sweet.
Always doing things. We're going to increase the rodent breeding. Yeah.
I missed the shop, man. Why you got to be so damn far?
Oh, man, it's a catch-22, dude. Like, trust me, like where you live is freaking beautiful. Seeing your place and that view you have, and like East Bay is a completely different culture, and it's got its own perks and its own history and all the good stuff that comes with that. And then there's, Sacramento, where you can just get stabbed and shot in the middle of the day for no freaking reason, dude. Like seriously, like right down the streets, like dude got freaking stabbed. And then today we're out getting stuff, dude. I'm not kidding you. I was picking up, I was at Sportsman's in the gun counter, and I'm seeing like somebody got shot, and I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. And put that away. Get back in line,
right?
Like, what the hell, man? Yeah. So like,
don't get me wrong. I love my place. I'm super lucky to have this apartment, and I don't want to leave it. But if you guys were like halfway closer, like I'd still be trying to work there.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Rachel and I end up buying a house in like Elk Grove or something like that, and we get like a 4-bedroom or something ridiculous, something out of this world, and it's like, we're converting the garage, or there's like an in-law unit in the back, like
in-law Lucas.
We do big things.
Yes.
We convert the building.
Do a big thing, building convert.
Yeah, no, that would be super cool. I want a place with a basement, man. They're out here. As much as everybody thinks it's only an East Coast thing, they are out here. Mm-hmm. So I just need one of those.
Just make sure it's somewhere with good bedrock.
Yeah, no flooding.
No flooding.
Yeah, Sacramento floods too.
The big one for my entire life.
So Sacramento floods as well. So there's another, little strike right there. But
all levees are meant to fail.
No, I love it out here, but man, there's pros and cons, right? I mean,
absolutely, there's pros and cons everywhere, man. Just being in Brooklyn. I mean, I was like a few blocks north of the subway shooting, so that was wild.
You were there when that happened?
Yeah, and we were gonna take the subway, but decided not to. So good choices were made.
Because that dude was targeting. He was targeting white and Asian people for no reason, just because he was pissed off. Well, he had his reasons, but what the hell?
Regardless of anything, I don't want to be in a train with a crazy person with smoke bombs and a gun. But all that to say, having the shooting in Sacramento like the week before I left, and then that shooting when I was there, I started to feel like bad luck. So,
dude, our customer who's a really funny guy who always gets the rodents and like tells them, no, don't worry, we're just taking you to the club.
Okay.
Joker.
I'd probably recognize the face, but
yeah. His cousin was one of the people shot in that Sacramento shooting. Dude, it's one of those things where like you think it's distant even though it's in your hometown, and then like somebody comes in, you realize like it's literally like
it's never that big of a world. I'm sorry to hear that, but
dude, it's freaking crazy, man. It's scary. Like the homeless guy coming in around to the shop with like a lock on a chain trying to fight and like having to call the cops.
Remember when I accidentally let a crazy person into the bathroom?
Hey, it's all good. We have this crazy lady who comes in and wanders around asking if she can keep frogs in her pockets, and then offers us beer and vodka.
Nice. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
What are you gonna do? There's crazy people everywhere. It's just, I don't know.
Which is why we're not crazy.
Which is why Eric's not here.
Animals in our house. We could be that guy with frog pockets and vodka.
Yeah, this is our safety plan. It keeps us off the streets and out of trouble.
Trouble? I know nothing of trouble.
I plead the fifth.
Nice, man. So let's see.
Okay, so you've added animals this year already.
I also am moving a few things out, so it's not complete crazy town. But yes, go on. Is this all part of and this might be a question I already know the answer to, but is this all part of a greater plan? Like, not only, like, I feel like I've heard you talk about scrubs before. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've heard you talk about the fuscus before.
Mm-hmm.
You already have garter snakes, and I know the influence there. Is this all part of your overall master plan expansion for what you see your collection being in the long run, or is this just you riding the great glorious wave that you're on?
I gotta be honest, it's both. Like there is plan and crackheadery mixed in to recent decisions. So like scrubbies were always in the plans, particularly the Waminas. I tried to get some of Nick's 2020s, but he basically was like, I don't want to sell them to you. So
fair.
I had to wait another year. That's totally fair. He made sure that first clutch went where he wanted them to, because you never know if
it's a rare species. You got to do due diligence and do the right thing by the animals and do the assurance colony approach. I get it.
That's one that I've been waiting in the wings for a couple of years. Fuscus was I'm gonna pin that. The meticulous crackhead. That's me. Centralian Exotics.
It's almost an oxymoron, yet brilliant in its own right.
A moron on oxy.
Whoa.
Anyway, Fuscus was in the plans. That was one that I've been talking about wanting to get for a few years. If I was going to do a liasis, it was going to be Queensland waters.
So that's you. That's your like foray into liasis. Like that's where you're gonna interject, and that's where you're gonna stay.
Exactly. I don't feel the urge to work with any of the others, and
you don't got the Pokemon syndrome for liasis.
No, I would love to have just a nice, pair of the Queensland waters and just do that. I think they're beautiful. I love the orange belly that Fuscus has. I tend to like them in terms of look a little bit more than the olives, although I do love olives. It's just a personal thing. And so that's been in the plans. Garter's completely not in the plans. Garter's 100% crackheadery, headassery. I blame Zach Loafman. I mean, he literally just sent them here. Like that.
I mean, at least they loosely could apply to your master's program.
No, it's nothing.
Maybe.
There's no redeeming factor, but I really like them, and I can just have a group of them in a really nice naturalistic aquarium, and they're they don't take up that much space, and they're really fun. So I'm not mad about it. What else happened? What else did I do?
Did you add more lizards?
I still have the trio of Eckus and
The
the
Kims
Kims.
and the black.
But only one Kim is here at the moment. The other two are at my lizard partner's house.
Right. And then
Blackthroat Pure Nelson. We must refer to him by name. Nelson Pure Headassery. There's no reason for me to have a Blackthroat. I think that was a oh shit, nukes, we're all gonna die. Might as well have a large lizard purchase. But I'm happy to have him. I'm gonna take good care of him, and it's also very fun. He's completely target trained now. It only took a month.
They're smart as hell, dude.
They're smart as hell.
It's really
He takes
fun.
naps in my pockets while I'm writing essays, and it's just great.
That's funny. You went up in monitors, and now I have 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alan has mine on breeding loan, who's apparently doing really well. It's like an indefinite breeding loan too, so he's just like there. So that's pretty cool. But now I just have like this empty enclosure that I'm like lazy and still haven't cleaned. I'm like, yeah, one day I'll empty it out, and then I'll be like, okay, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, Stevens.
Yeah, that guy. I don't think I want to dip my toes into Odatria and dwarf monitors. As much as I find them fascinating and would really get a kick out of them, I think that would, one, make my room too hot if I had the space and kind of make it challenging for some of my other species. And then two, I think like I would just, I already have to deal with crickets with the Stropherus. I don't want to deal with more. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's enough. So
I hear you. So I guess I'll answer Python to colubrid ratio, and then I want to hear your snake to gecko ratio. So let's see. I think my Python to colubrid ratio is still strongly Python. If we're talking about individual count, it's probably still like a 70-30, 75-25 situation. But if we're talking about species, we got the Brettles, got the Jungles, got the Ruffies, Inlands, Blackheads, Womas. Scrub. So 7 species of Python. I don't have anything else, right?
No, you don't.
Okay,
have any,
and then there's
you don't have any boas.
Florida Blue Stripe, Garter, Lake Chapala Garter, Eastern Indigo, False Water Cobra.
Yep.
That's it. Okay, 4 species of colubrid. So 7-4.
There you go.
How about you?
As far, well, I'm down to 5 corn snakes, 2 Crevos, and 1 gopher snake. So,
I love how we're just looking around like, what the hell is in here?
Yeah, so I think just the 3 species of colubrids to however many pythons, Papuans, Jungles, Brettles, Nova Guineas, Coastals, IJs.
What about boas? Or sorry, geckos, but boas too, I guess, since I said it.
Boas, the only thing I have are rainbows.
Okay.
Geckos, I have crusties, I have crocodile geckos, and I have golden tail geckos. So I have 3 species of geckos. Technically 2 species of boas, because I have the leucistic Colombian that I'm snake sitting for the gal who's overseas fighting for our military. And then yeah, that's it, man. That's it. It's weird. Like at one point, the beginning of this year or late last year, there were 130 snakes in here. And now I'm like, it's like 80 something, maybe.
I haven't counted in a long time.
Counting hurts.
I know it's less because I only have a few babies left. So it's definitely less than I had a few months ago, but I don't have a number anymore.
That's good, though. Counting is not helpful in any way, shape, or form.
No, there's nothing good that comes from counting.
Yeah, it just makes you
the answer
self-conscious.
is always not enough.
Yeah, the answer is it doesn't matter.
I'm getting angry stare from girlfriend.
No. Well, that's why I record with the door closed.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sent the Mad Hogs to Owen. Looks like he got eggs again.
Yeah, from his original female, and he's
okay.
I think he's gonna move the male in with the others that I sent him. He's good with them, man. He's just clearly got the space to give various biome diverse groups of animals what they need. I think he also has the time, maybe. So it's exactly what I wanted for those animals, was to go somewhere that somebody was going to be more successful and attentive than I, and that seems to be 100% the case with him. So
for sure,
like if they just stayed here, I'd just continue to be like, man, I like you guys, but I have all this other stuff. So,
No, yeah, and that's the way to do it, right? Finding the right place for them where they're going to be well looked after and attended to, and rather than just listing them up on Morph Market and saying good luck.
Yeah,
it's nice to keep it in the family if you can.
It is, and I don't regret like my time messing with them, because I clearly had success with them where I set goals for myself and achieved said goals, and then didn't just wash, like get rid of it and just wash it. Still kept, like you said, kept it in the family. So
yeah.
that's kind of nice. And
for sure.
But along the way, all of these animals that we do work with, whether we keep them or not, they sort of teach us kind of where we lie, and they're like the bumper paddles, if you will, of calibrating where I want to be. So it's all good.
It's all good, man.
All good.
We'll just consolidate into the NPR Serpentarium, open up a zoo.
100%.
Owen can be in charge of colubrids, and
we just need a good starting bank of working capital, a building, whether it be a lease or a permanent buy that we can alter and do stuff with, and then city permits, licenses, and then you start building, you start bringing in animals, you start marketing, you set opening date, and then you just
sell your soul on YouTube for views.
Dude, no.
Oh, wait, no, sorry.
No. To be completely honest, there's a great model out there in the snake discovery.
Hell yeah.
Approach to things. Even if we go that route and don't even want to like fiddle with retail very much, which like is understandable considering I know the ins and outs of it, and like I constantly question my sanity.
You and me both. I'm getting ready. Probably my semester is going to be wrapping up in May, and I'm probably going to hit the field biology work a little bit harder during summer. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to keep my foot in the retail side of things during that.
Sure.
It might be nice to have a little bit of a break from people and just have a nice field season.
Yeah, set yourself up. And also set yourself up to be available for other doors that may open.
Oh yeah, of course.
You complete that degree, you start doing nearly full-time field work. All of a sudden, you're a field biologist with a master's degree, and you next thing you know, somebody's like, "Hey, I need so and so. I'm sort of applicant," and Dr. Loafman goes, "Well, it just so happens." And you never know. You never know what phone call you might get or what connection you might make. Or
I certainly never know.
I know nothing. So anybody who's listening to make connections with me,
Good.
I know nothing.
All right. Well, there's a question from Sid on the topic of school. What amount of scientific literature does my school require me is you, to familiarize myself with? Did I have to take any stats or research writing classes? So I majored in environmental studies for undergrad. Now with that, my focus wasn't herpetological. My focus was mostly actually food systems and environmental policy. So I did have to do stats for undergrad, and I did have to obviously go through a lot of literature in those fields. But it was nothing snaky until Loafman's program. So for the master's program, it's a shit ton of scientific literature, to be frank, but it's not like you have to know it beforehand. Like pretty much all of the courses have been structured in a way that is what you are doing to get the degree, is engaging with the literature and mining papers. So, for example, right now for Loafman's conservation biology course, I am writing an 8 essay exam. Yeah, that son of a gun, with 5 to 10 scientific articles per essay required, right? So by the time this is done, I will have looked over like 50 pieces of literature.
Did it give you a whole year to do that?
No, 2 weeks.
Never going back to school.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, it's fun. Like, I'm having a good time and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, you should expect, if you're interested in the zoo science thing, you should expect to read a lot of literature, especially for Zach's classes. He's a madman for that. But that's a good thing. Like, I feel like that's where I'm actually learning things that matter, is when I am having to do that. So there's that. And then for stats, yeah, there is a biostats component of the masters, but that was also a very well put together class. I'm not a stats person. I failed the AP stats test in high school, but I was able to do the biostats just fine. So if you're thinking about it, Sid, hit me up. Happy to talk to you more about the program, and it's great. Casey Cannon's thinking about hopping in, and I've been talking to him about it as well. So anybody that's listening that wants more information on the masters thing that I'm doing with Zach, you can always hit me up. And Zach always wants to talk about it too, but he's a busy guy, so I can be your plan B.
But at the end of every podcast lately, he's definitely putting out the feelers, looking for more students. So
yeah, the program's growing. The new cohort that came in 2021 is a lot bigger than what was there when I started. So, it's growing. The scope of the projects that people are working on is really exciting. And yeah, it's really cool to be a part of. I know he's always looking for more, and it's not necessarily too tricky to apply. So why not do it?
Yeah, absolutely. If only I were 15 years younger and didn't have ADHD and could actually sit for 20 minutes of sitting and read without losing focus.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. I couldn't focus in New York, so today I'm playing catch up.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean, I don't know if Eric's going to be able to join us. We can keep it to a short one today if there's nothing else you want to hit on.
The last thing I wanted to say is I saw a photograph of a sulcata out in Florida eating an eastern diamondback that had died in the yard, and that was the most savage thing I've seen all week. I'm not a stranger to tortoises eating carrion. I've seen redfoots eat carrion. I've fed redfoots rodents. I've seen mountain tortoises do it. But I have never seen a sulcata sit there and eat like a midsection of a diamondback rattlesnake. and that was amazing. And
truly omnivorous.
We know jack about tortoises, is all I'm going to say.
Man, that's just so true about all reptiles.
Yeah. So, yeah,
very
it's pretty
cool.
gnarly. So, cool. But yeah, it's, for me, at the very least, like hopping on here, even if we don't have too much going on, or, it's just, we got to keep the consistency, keep it up there for the week. It adds to the NPR channel, which is what we're trying to do. It keeps with our personal goals of being consistent with ourselves. And at the very least, you've been out for a little while, so it's nice to catch up with you and see your young, youthful, shining little face.
I know, isn't it pretty? Yeah. I'm just kidding, but it's good to be back. It's a bummer to miss a few weeks. I always love these chats. Thanks to everybody who joins in live. That being said, a lot of the times with this show, we really are just kind of shooting the shit and winging it. So get involved, chat. All questions welcome. Topic ideas welcome. You're as a part of this as anybody on the other side of it. So,
and I got some amazing coffee, that Cafe Luna from Ryan Merritt.
The coffee half. Let's end with the coffee half.
Well, so, and I keep saying this, I feel like a broken record, but the company that keeps sending me this feels like a broken record. That New York roasting company that takes the beans from Uganda. They emailed me again saying they're at like 80% fulfilled on all the orders. I'm like, okay, can I have my coffee beans now? But I understand supply chain constraints, COVID time frames, all that nonsense. So when it comes, I will be super excited. I will definitely brew a bunch, and then we'll all get to experience what I've been waiting for on that stuff.
Can't wait to hear. I've switched over to a light roast for the past couple weeks. I guess I felt like I needed that extra bit of caffeine for this 8 essay test. So light roast the way to go. Really gets my gears going.
Nice.
But it also makes me have really bad headaches sometimes. So
maybe just go down on the volume of it. Just make smaller portions.
Yeah.
And then drink like a glass of water with it.
Oh, I drink a lot of water.
Okay. I drink a lot. So then maybe that's not it. See, I try to drink water and I forget. But
my cousin got me a giant gallon bottle that spaces out your water proportion by time of day. So like 3 p.m. you better be on that line or you're fucked.
Or self-destruct.
Yeah, so I'm sticking to the water. But light roast good. I like coffee. There was really good coffee in Brooklyn. That place, Williamsburg, is where my sister's at. It's gentrified as hell, so there's a lot of bougie coffee shops, and it was delicious.
Nice,
really good coffee.
Nice. Yeah. I'm forcing myself this year to start going back to the gym. I had this really good routine when we first moved up to SAC, and I was going all the time, and so I'm starting to get myself into the morning routine. So I see myself getting into the morning routine of like going and then coming back and having coffee before work, even though right now I try to keep it to the weekend. So, but yeah, I think that's what I'll probably see myself doing once the tattoo heals. Will be back to the gym. So
there you go. I need to do that too. Now that I don't have mono, I drink again. And beer weight is real.
Yeah. Hey, I got a whole litany of excuses if you need some more. But
yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing. I don't want to leave Tyler hanging. What reptiles have the both of you parted with recently?
Corn snakes a lot, and Dumerose boas.
And your Savannah.
Oh yeah, my Savannah's on breeding loan with Buddy. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. And then for me, I had a couple womas that were not in the plans that I found new homes for. Sid in the chat being one of them. Can't wait to get Sid his snake. But a couple womas. That being said, too, I'm probably going to be looking for other options for a few of my adult brettles. So
there you go.
Yeah, you know,
happens.
I'm not
Waves,
just
ebbs
gonna
and flows.
exactly. I'm not just gonna dump them, but if I
No.
find the right place, I don't need 5 adult pairs of Brettles. That's a little
Well,
excessive.
it's not a matter of need.
Well, especially if I'm gonna start, raising up holdbacks from the clutches I've produced.
We will
I just
teach you
want
the
all the
ways of
animals.
Tetris
I
and
want all of my
islands that
animals to
roll.
have good lives, and sometimes that means finding a better place.
Yes,
So,
I feel you.
anyway, all that
Reptile
being
Mansion.
said, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. A little bit of a shorter episode, so we can get out of here, enjoy that Friday evening.
Yes.
Yes, the weekend is ahead, even though I work tomorrow, so not really.
My weekend is wrapping up.
Yes, me as well. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Then just kidding. Very sad. But yeah, listen to Morelia Python Radio and all of the affiliated podcasts therein. New Boa Pod coming down the chute. Keith McPeak, Rob Stone, and Warren Booth. So that's a heavy hitting lineup. Should be an amazing podcast that I probably will refuse to listen to because I can't want boas.
Because you're gonna listen to it, and then you're gonna be like, "Hey, there's a rainbow boa on the cover," and then be like, "Hey, Lucas, I had a litter of rainbow boas," and you're like, "Can I get one?"
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to fall in love with boas, I'm sure that pod will do the trick. Just another option to the lineup. New episodes of all the other shows always coming out. That being said, if you want to get in touch with Riley, you can.
Yeah, you can find me on a lot of the social media things that I do just under Riley's Reptiles. If it's YouTube, just look me up by my name, Riley Jimison. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the NPR YouTube channel and get us up to 1,000. Help us get up to 1,000 subs. We've got, only a few hundred more to go. We've reached 700, so that's growing. Also, don't forget the Patreon and Teespring store for NPR Network. So, yeah.
That's right. Everything he said.
Where can we find you?
Centralian Exotics is my snake name. If you want to talk to me about snakes, that's how you should do it. From that, I will talk to people about snakes. From my main account, I will ignore you.
And then the occasional Odatria.
And and monitors. I gotta stop saying snakes. Now it's just reptiles.
Yeah.
All I have in the incubator is lizards.
You done did that to yourself.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great week, and we will be back next Friday for some more carpets and coffee, and maybe we'll actually talk about carpets time.
And coffee.
Coffee will be present. All right. Later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.